My best friend Brooke helped me text him. She picked out my outfit, told me Mason liked me back. For weeks, she played the role of the supportive best friend. And then one random afternoon, I found out she had been dating him the entire time. That was the moment my life split in two, before Brooke's lie. And after. Mason transferred to our school in Portland last August. He was the kind of guy who somehow managed to be both confident and approachable. Smart without trying too hard. Actually nice without expecting anything in return. I noticed him immediately in AP history when he corrected our teacher about a Civil War date, not in an obnoxious way, just matter of fact. The teacher actually thanked him. That never happens. I told Brooke about my crush during lunch that same week. We were sitting in our usual spot by the windows overlooking the parking lot. She got this excited look on her face, grabbed my arm and said Mason and I would be perfect together. She said she had noticed him looking at me in the hallway. I wanted to believe her so badly that I did not question it. Brooke and I had been friends since freshman year when we got paired for a Spanish presentation. We were not the kind of best friends who did everything together, but we were close enough. She knew about my anxiety around presentations. I knew about her complicated relationship with her stepmom. We shared that kind of middle-tier friendship where you text about homework and occasionally share something real. By October, Brooke had become my unofficial Mason consultant. She would analyze his every interaction with me. When he asked to borrow a pen in chemistry, she insisted it meant something. When he held the door open after English, she said it was definitely a sign. She helped me draft text to him that sounded casual but interesting. We spent hours on FaceTime while I tried on different outfits for school. My mom started noticing and asked if everything was okay. I told her I was just trying to be more put together for junior year. She seemed to buy it. Mason and I started talking more by early November. Nothing major at first, just comments about assignments or complaints about our chemistry teacher who assigned labs on Fridays. But then he started waiting for me after class. We would walk to lunch together, taking the long way through the science building. He told me about moving from Arizona, how different the rain was, how he missed desert sunsets but loved that everything here was so green. I told him about growing up in Portland, the best coffee shops downtown, places he should check out. Normal conversation, but it felt like something more. If you are listening to this story right now, I want to know where you are watching from. Leave it in the comments below, because I am starting to realize these kinds of betrayals happen everywhere, not just in my rainy corner of Oregon. Brooke kept pushing me to be more direct with Mason. She said I was overthinking everything, that guys needed clear signals. One Friday in November, she practically wrote the text for me. Hey, want to see a movie this weekend? Simple, direct. Casual enough that rejection would not destroy me. I stared at my phone for 20 minutes before hitting send. Mason took 3 hours to respond. Those 3 hours felt like 3 years. His response was short. Sorry, already have plans Saturday. No suggestion of another time. No explanation, just those 5 words. Monday at school, Mason barely looked at me. Our usual walk to lunch did not happen. He took a different route after chemistry. I was confused and hurt, but Brooke said he was probably just having a bad day. She suggested giving him space. So I did. But by Wednesday, the weirdness had escalated. A girl named Taylor came up to me at my locker and asked why I was obsessing over taken guys. I laughed, thinking it was a weird joke. Then she said Brooke had warned everyone about my inappropriate crush on her boyfriend. Her boyfriend. Those 2 words rearranged everything. I thought I knew. I stood there holding my calculus textbook, trying to process what Taylor had just said. She was already walking away, probably satisfied that she had delivered her message. The hallway noise faded into static. I could not move, could not think, could not breathe properly. That afternoon, I saw them together in the parking lot. Mason had his arm around Brooke's waist. She was wearing his varsity jacket from his old school. When she saw me looking, she whispered something to him. They both glanced in my direction. Not quite laughing, but close enough. I turned around and walked back into school, even though I had nowhere to go. I locked myself in a bathroom stall and stayed there until the parking lot cleared out. At home that night, I could not eat dinner. My mom made salmon, which I usually love, but even the smell made me nauseous. My younger brother Ely kept asking what was wrong. He is only 13, but he notices everything. I told him it was just stress about a history test. He did not believe me, but let it go. I spent the rest of the night in my room replaying every interaction with Brooke, looking for signs I had missed. The next day, I confronted Brooke at lunch. My hands were shaking so badly I had to set down my tray before I dropped it. I asked her how long she had been dating Mason. She took a bite of her apple, chewed slowly, and said they had been together since September. September, before I ever told her about my crush. Before she helped me pick out outfits. Before she analyzed his every word. Before she wrote that text for me. When I asked why she pretended to help me, she shrugged. Actually shrugged, like it was nothing. She said she thought it was better than telling me to back off from her boyfriend. She said she was trying to be nice about it, letting me figure it out on my own. She made it sound like she had done me a favor. By Friday, the story had mutated into something unrecognizable. According to the version spreading through school, I had been stalking Mason for months, even after finding out he was with Brooke. She showed people our text conversations about him, carefully edited to remove her encouragement. She shared screenshots where I talked about what he wore or where he sat at lunch, making me look obsessed. She left out all her responses telling me to go for it. My social media started filling up with anonymous messages. People called me desperate, pathetic, creepy. Someone made a meme using my school photo with the word stalker in red letters. It got shared 37 times before I reported it. Instagram took 4 days to remove it. December was the worst month of my life. Someone wrote psycho on my locker in Sharpie. My lab partner in chemistry asked to switch groups. When I tried explaining my side to anyone, they would cut me off saying Brooke had already warned them I would make up lies. The holiday spirit everywhere made it worse. Everyone else was excited about winter break and New Year's parties. I was counting down the days until I could hide at home. My parents started noticing the changes. I was skipping breakfast, barely eating dinner, spending all my time in my room. My dad thought maybe I was depressed about colleges or stressed about grades. My mom suspected something social was happening but did not want to push. They had whispered conversations about me when they thought I was asleep. I heard my mom crying one night telling my dad she did not know how to help me if I would not talk to them. Eli tried to cheer me up in his own way. He kept sending me funny TikToks and memes. He offered to let me play his PlayStation, which was huge, because he never shared his games. One night, he knocked on my door with a bag of Twizzlers, my favorite candy that he had bought with his own money. He did not say anything, just handed them to me and left. I cried for an hour after that. If you have ever been through something like this, where the truth does not matter because the lie is more interesting, hit the like button, because I need to know I am not alone in this. In January, things got worse before they got better. Someone created a blog called Mason's Stalker Diaries and filled it with fake entries supposedly written by me. The posts were disturbing. Detailed fantasies about Mason, angry rants about Brooke, threats I never made. The writing style was nothing like mine, but nobody cared about those details. They had their villain and their story. The blog went viral at school within 2 days. People I had never talked to were screenshotting it, sharing it, adding their own commentary about how they always knew something was off about me. Teachers started looking at me differently. I got called to the counselor's office 3 times in 1 week. She kept asking if I wanted to talk about healthy relationships and boundaries. I kept insisting the blog was fake, but she would just nod with this sympathetic expression that made it clear she did not believe me. My parents got called in for a meeting. The principal showed them printed copies of the blog posts. My mom kept saying it did not sound like me at all, that I would never write things like that. My dad was furious, demanding they investigate who actually created the blog. But the school's position was that since it was created off campus, there was nothing they could do except offer me counseling services. That night, my family had the worst fight we have ever had. My dad wanted to go to the police. My mom wanted to talk to Brooke's parents. I just wanted to disappear. I ended up screaming that none of it would help, that everyone had already decided I was guilty. I slammed my door so hard that a picture frame fell off the wall and shattered. Nobody came to check on me. But here is where things shifted. A quiet girl named Ashley from my English class sent me a message that night. She said she knew the blog was fake because she had seen Brooke in the computer lab the day before it appeared, working on something she quickly minimized when anyone walked by. Ashley said she could not prove it, but she wanted me to know someone believed me. That small message gave me the first hope I had felt in months. I started paying attention, really paying attention, to Brooke's patterns. I noticed she had study hall during the same period the blog post usually went up. I saw her typing furiously on her phone right before new rumors would spread. I started documenting everything, not to retaliate but to protect myself. In February, Mason and Brooke's relationship started showing cracks. He looked tired all the time. She was constantly grabbing his phone, checking his messages. They argued in the hallway between classes. During one particularly bad fight, I heard her accuse him of looking at other girls. He said he felt suffocated. She started crying and said he did not appreciate everything she did for him. Then something unexpected happened. Mason approached me after school one day when nobody was around. He apologized. He said he had started to realize how much Brooke had manipulated both of us. He told me she had been deleting my texts from his phone before he could see them. She had told him from the beginning that I was obsessed with him, that I had been stalking them both. He believed her because she seemed so concerned, so protective. Mason showed me text messages where Brooke had sent him screenshots of things I supposedly said, but the timestamps were wrong, the formatting was off. He had only noticed after their relationship started deteriorating and he began questioning everything. He felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. We talked for an hour in his car comparing timelines, realizing just how elaborately Brooke had orchestrated everything. I wanted to feel vindicated, but mostly I just felt tired. Mason asked if I wanted to expose her together, but I told him I needed time to think. The truth was, I was scared of what Brooke might do if we came forward. She had already destroyed my reputation with lies. What would she do if she felt truly threatened? The answer came sooner than expected. Someone sent an anonymous email to the entire junior class with screenshots of Brooke's real text messages. Messages where she admitted to creating the blog, where she bragged about turning everyone against me, where she detailed her plans to break Mason and me apart before we ever had a chance. The messages were from her conversations with her cousin who lived in California, someone she thought would never interact with anyone from our school. I still do not know who sent that email. It was not me, though everyone assumed it was. It was not Mason either. He was as surprised as everyone else. Ashley swore it was not her. But whoever did it changed everything overnight. Suddenly people were looking at Brooke differently. The blog mysteriously disappeared. People who had been cruel to me went silent. Not apologetic, just silent. Brooke tried to claim the screenshots were fake, that I had somehow hacked her account, but too many details lined up. Too many people recognized her writing style, her favorite phrases, her particular way of spelling certain words wrong. The school finally took action. Brooke got suspended for cyberbullying and harassment. Her parents were furious, not at her but at the school for believing what they called fabricated evidence. They threatened to sue, but nothing came of it. Brooke spent the rest of the year doing online school. I would see her sometimes at the grocery store or driving past, but we never made eye contact. And if you are still listening to this story, maybe hit that subscribe button. Not because I need the validation, but because I am going to keep telling stories that nobody wants to say out loud. Stories that need to be heard. Mason and I never dated. After everything that happened, we were both too damaged, too tired, too aware of how complicated things could get. We stayed friendly but distant. He started dating a girl from another school in May. I was genuinely happy for him. He deserved something uncomplicated. As for me, I spent the rest of junior year rebuilding. It was slow, painful. Some people never spoke to me again. Others acted like nothing had happened, which was almost worse. But a few people, like Ashley, became real friends. She invited me to her study group, introduced me to her circle. They were quieter kids, the ones who observed more than they participated. Turns out they had seen through Brooke long before I did. My family grew closer through this mess. My parents, who initially did not know how to help, became my fiercest advocates. They started checking in without pushing, listening without trying to fix everything. Eli became my unofficial bodyguard, walking me to my car after school even though the middle school lets out earlier. He never made a big deal about it, just showed up. The truth about that whole experience? It taught me that people will believe the most interesting story, not the most true one. They will side with whoever tells it first, whoever tells it loudest, whoever seems more confident. But it also taught me that the truth has a way of surfacing. Maybe not immediately, maybe not completely, but eventually somehow it finds light. I still have trust issues. I still analyze every friendship, looking for signs of betrayal. I still sometimes wake up at 3 in the morning, anxiety tight in my chest, remembering the worst moments. But I also learned that surviving something like that shows you exactly how strong you are. Not strong in a dramatic way. Strong in a quiet, determined, getting up every morning even when you do not want to weigh. Senior year started 2 months ago. Brooke goes to private school now. Mason graduated early and left for college. Most people have forgotten the drama, moved on to newer scandals, but I remember everything. Not because I am holding on to it, but because it changed me. It made me careful with my trust. It made me value real friendship. It made me understand that kindness and cruelty can wear the same face. Last week, a freshman girl approached me crying. Someone had started a rumor about her, something twisted and untrue. She had heard my story through the remnants of last year's gossip. She wanted to know how to survive it. I told her the truth, that it would hurt, that some people would never believe her, that it would feel endless. But I also told her she would survive. That truth has a way of revealing itself. That one day she would be able to help someone else through the same thing. That is the strange gift of going through something terrible. You become proof that survival is possible. You become someone who can say, I know exactly how this feels, and mean it. You become someone who recognizes the signs, who sees through the performance, who knows that sometimes the person offering the most help is the one holding the knife. I am sharing this story not because I want sympathy or validation. I am sharing it because somewhere someone is going through their own version of this betrayal. Someone is wondering if they are crazy for sensing that something is wrong. Someone is being gaslit by a person they trust. And I want them to know you are not crazy. You are not alone. And this is not your fault. Trust your instincts. Document everything. Find one person who believes you. And remember that the people who matter will eventually see the truth. It might take longer than you want. It might cost more than seems fair. But truth has weight that lies cannot carry forever. The most important thing I learned: when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. And when someone seems too invested in your story, ask yourself why. Because sometimes the person cheering you on the loudest is the one setting you up to fall the hardest. That is my story. The real one. The messy one. The one where I was not a perfect victim and the villain was not an obvious monster. Just 2 teenage girls, 1 crush, and a betrayal that changed everything. If you recognize yourself in any part of this, the betrayed or even the betrayer, know that high school ends, but the lessons last forever. Choose carefully which ones you carry forward.